up the hill, Russell to the inside. Max keeps it around the outside to make sure that, everything stays all nice and dandy. But look at us! Look at us! We do the same thing we did to Norris with Verstappen. He has to brake early because the cars ahead of him are battling. It's 3 wide heading down into turn 3. We go for the dive. Bottas goes for the switchback. Russell is shoved wide. Verstappen is coming back at us. It's 4. Hello guys, Turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to F123, welcome back to Career Mode, and welcome back to Turbo Fox Racers. Guys, before we get the video underway, I want to apologize for the long distance between posts. Remember what I told you guys when I started this game cycle? It's a new job, it's a new beginning for me. There's a lot of stuff that needs to happen and fall into place, and I'm actually still slightly adjusting to the routine, and last week was a more hectic week than usual. So when you guys see this video, because this is literally the next video that I'm supposed to post, I do apologize. It's not on purpose. Things are just busy and I have to work around, having an actual job, but it's all good. We're here, we're back with F123. After this, there's going to be a Breaking Point episode, and then we're back on Career Mode. Breaking Point's almost done, so then the Gran Turismo 7 content is going to start rolling in, rolling. You gotta keep them rolling. In any case, let's get into the actual video. So, guys, here we go. Upgrade-wise, you guys can see we have now officially overtaken Ferrari and Mercedes. McLaren and Alpine are actually catching up a lot quicker than I thought they would. But we still need to bridge that gap to Red Bull. And obviously, I'm going to mention this, guys. I think I mentioned it in an earlier video. I can't exactly remember. But I'm just going to make sure, double sure now by mentioning it again, as we have an unfortunate aerodynamic upgrade failure. You guys know if I win a championship with a team, I prefer drivers and constructors. But as soon as I win a driver's championship, I have to move. And remember, I told you guys that there is still a road to glory that we need to finish. So if we win the championship with Aston this season, the chances of us going to Williams is kind of big, but we'll see how the game plays out. I still want to keep it interesting. We don't know where Williams is going to be by season 2. But guys, shocking news, driver retirement. And of all drivers, I'm not going to lie, you guys know my luck with the F1 game. It's always Fernando Alonso or Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel is no longer in the game. Alonso isn't, he's my teammate. But Nico Hülkenberg? For Haas, he's come back for one season and just decided, yeah, I'm out. This car sucks. So, Nico Hülkenberg's retiring. And then, before I get into that, guys, let's quickly look at the performance chart. So, with the upgrades that have been fitted to the car, heading into this Austrian race weekend, which is a sprint race weekend, by the way, we have officially, by a pixel, overtaken Red Bull in the R&D graph. So, we are the quickest car on track now with Red Bull P2, Ferrari P3, Mercedes P4, Alpine P5, but from Alpine all the way down to AlphaTauri is immensely close. So that's going to be a very interesting battle for the 9th and 10th spots all the way down to 20th. It's going to be so damn good. I mean, look at those. Those 6 teams are separated by less than we are to Mercedes. It's insane. And obviously you guys know, so far in this game cycle, the performance chart hasn't really been that relevant as it's been in previous games. So even though Ferrari and Mercedes are not the quickest, they've got race-winning pace. If they get in front, it's hard for me and the Aston and the Red Bull to catch. For me in the Aston and the Red Bulls to catch. So there's a lot that's happening in this little, the top 4 team fight, and then the midfield, which is absolutely, utterly nuts. But guys, I made a boo-boo. So initially going into the race, I know I said in the video it's a sprint race weekend, but that's only because I'm done with the gameplay recording. Yeah, I forgot it's a sprint race weekend, and then I checked my engine, as you guys saw. It's knackered. It's done. It's over. It's out of here. So I had to swap the engine in qualifying, which means I couldn't even qualify properly for the sprint race because I didn't have an engine. So I'm starting the sprint race in last, and wherever I finish the main race, I'm still going to start last because the penalties only get implemented for the main Grand Prix, which is on the Sunday. So we screwed ourselves heavily. And I mean, yes, it's only the 5th race of the season, but we are leading the championship. There's still a lot that could happen in a 16-race season. So this was a big blunder from my side. So we've got our work cut out for us this weekend with the other 3 teams being so quick.
So it's all about speed in today's sprint. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Perez, Ocon, Bottas, Gasly, Norris, Joe, Magnussen, Hülkenberg, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Albon, De Vries, Sargent, and O'Connor. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
So guys, I had a lot to talk about in the beginning of the video. We're already in the sprint race because we were dumb in qualifying, as you guys already know. Easy sprint race strategy, medium tires, the hards are just a little bit too slow, and the softs don't go the distance yet because the cars don't have that many chassis upgrades yet. So we're playing it safe, going for the mediums. But to my surprise, Lando Norris and 3 other back markers, well, midfield, 3 other midfield drivers along with Lando, went for the softs. So it's Lando, Nick De Vries, Oscar Piastri, and Tsunoda. So AlphaTauri and McLaren think the softs can get to the end of the sprint. I think we've got a juicy sprint ahead of us, to be deadly honest.
The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. Ready to start the sprint as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So guys, it's sprint time, and did you guys see the grid? Ferrari front row, Mercedes second row, Fernando is the joker, like in between the other, like the top 4 teams, because I'm at the back, and then it's a double Red Bull. So Alonso is going to be the odd one out in that top 7 fight. Hopefully we can get ourselves at least into 8th position for this sprint race, so that we at least score a point. Every point counts in a 16-race season with the grid being this close. And guys, honestly, this is the closest grid we've ever had in a first season. But guys, 5 red lights, and it's go, go, go for the Austria sprint. Beautiful start from the 2 Ferraris, but also Hamilton and the Mercedes from P3 had a wonderful start. Russell is going to try to go around the outside of his fellow British teammate. He gets the move done. Alonso has fallen down as one of the Red Bulls is into P5. Alonso is actually battling with one of the Alpines and the second Red Bull, but the 2 Ferraris are under pressure from Hamilton as Leclerc goes into the first corner. Or is that Sainz? I can't see exactly there, but Russell is really going for it on this first lap of the sprint. Yellow flags at the hairpin because it's a very slow section, so the cars slow down heavily, and then the game says it's a yellow flag, but nothing major. Here comes Hamilton back on George Russell. He had a beautiful exit coming out of the turn 3 hairpin and side by side with his teammate, but Russell has got the better racing line coming out of T4. So it's a beautiful defensive move there from Russell. But Carlos Sainz leads your way from Charles Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, and then I think it's Perez in P5 and not Verstappen. Let's quickly check here. Which is it? Oh no, it's actually Perez. Verstappen is the car in P5 because Alonso had an absolutely horrendous launch off the line. Then Perez gets pinched in between Alonso and the Alpine of Pierre Gasly. And as they head up the hill, Perez, obviously in the superior Red Bull car, He tries to go for the move here on Gasly to the outside of the Alpine driver. Alonso sticks to the racing line. He cuts off the Alpine. Little bit of bumper, well, wing bashing and tire bashing there between Gasly and Perez. But look at that Red Bull straight line speed. It's still a factor in every single race. We now jump back to our POV for our start. And guys, honestly, we had such a good launch off of the line with the medium, but I mean, I'm literally at the back. I've got nowhere to go. So I just keep around the outside, turn in late, go around the outside of both the Williams cars, straight line the car as quickly as possible. And now we are on the back of the soft tire runner, Oscar Piastri. But in a straight line, look at this Haas. Sorry, it wasn't the two Williams, it was one of the Haas cars, along with Logie Sarge. And we go for dive bomb boy McGee. That's all the cars get concertinaed up, heading into that hairpin. We have gone from P20 to P11 in the 3 corners of this Austrian sprint race. It's just Bottas, Gasly, and Ocon in our way. Guys, once again, I made another mistake. It was Ocon battling Perez, not Pierre Gasly. Oh, you guys can see it's almost been a full week since I've done commentary because this video was recorded more than a week ago. So I sincerely apologize. But in any case, here we go. We are up into P11. We now need to get through these midfield cars to try and get to the top 7, because I'm not going to lie, guys, the Aston space felt good, but you guys know I've been ranting the whole season about the Aston is so good on low fuel. Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes have definitely caught on to that because on lower fuel, they are quicker. We are still, I feel, the car to beat, but not by the big margin that we did have. And that, to me, honestly, is sad. And as you guys can see here, Bottas is doing an exceptional job in the Alfa Romeo, and his teammate Joe is trying to follow suit. But going up the hill, Bottas is behind Gasly, and he has to be so soon on the brakes because they're still concertinaing up. I go for a wide line through the hairpin, get the car straightened as quickly as possible, and the grip is there. We shoot past Bottas, and oh, there's an engine failure right in front of the fin. That is Pierre Gasly in the Alpine. That happened right alongside me, well, slightly behind me. But I mean, oh my word, that must have been horrifying for Bottas. But I mean, that's Gasly out of the race. That's one free position for us. We are now right behind his teammate Esteban Ocon, heading up the hill. Let's use this Aston's incredible engine up the hill. We stick to the outside of the corner. We give Gasly the inside, but we can brake later because we have to turn in later to leave him the space. We straighten the car up like we did the previous lap with Bottas, and it's an easy rubber dub into P8. And now, guys, we've got 2.3 seconds to catch to the top 7, and these guys are nose to tail. Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Alonso, Perez. Here we go, boys. Russell is trying to go for a move here on the monogas to the inside of the turn 2 hairpin. Russell in the Mercedes against Leclerc in the Ferrari. Leclerc has the better racing line, as you guys see. The outside line, you can get on to the power earlier because you straighten the car quicker. So Leclerc defends from the Brit. Here we go. Again up the hill. Now lap 5. Sainz is slowly but surely starting to break away, which I think is going to be a lot of relief for the Spaniard as he's trying to get back into this championship fight, because we are literally 8 drivers battling for championship here. Any one of us can win it. It's still early days in the season. Russell gets the move done on Leclerc, and here comes the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton into T4 around the outside. Leclerc even tries to go back for a little sneak peek up the inside of Russell, but he can't manage it, and he leaves the door open for Hamilton because he tightened up his line. It's a Mercedes 2-3 now. Leclerc down to P4, under pressure now from the defending world champion Max Verstappen. Here we go, up the hill again. Hamilton is very, very hard up about getting back ahead of his teammate. Into the corner, Hamilton up the inside, but Russell is going to have that better line. But Lewis will now have DRS, and they can't forget about the Ferrari, the 2 Red Bulls, and the Aston behind, because they are still a threat. Here we go, Hamilton now pulls to the outside, into the braking zone. He absolutely trumps Russell in the braking zone. So much better and later braking from Lewis Hamilton there, around the outside, and it's the 7-time world champion up into P2. Can he catch the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, or is there going to be too much pressure from behind from this 6-car gaggle? And guys, I'm not going to lie, by already lap 7 I realized, yeah, I'm not catching them. DRS is so powerful around this track. If you lose it, you've got a problem. You need tire advantage to bridge the gap. And because all 8 of us front runners are on mediums, they had the same tire wear than I have, plus minus, so I couldn't do much. But it's an insane battle here for P2. Hamilton, Russell, Alonso, Leclerc, Verstappen, Perez, they are all fighting at the same time for P2 in this sprint race. I think Carlos Sainz is so relieved that he is not part of this battle. And guys, believe it or not, because Valtteri Bottas could just chill in my DRS, He was keeping up with me because that's how powerful DRS is. You guys know we've got a lot better car than the Alfa Romeo. But I mean, it was insane. Now, Alonso just gets the slingshot out of turn 1, gets past Perez and gets past Verstappen, excuse me, and then just goes around the outside of Leclerc, who I think is absolutely raging in that Maranello red Ferrari, because he's gone from P2 now to P5. He was battling for the first place on the first lap, and 8 laps later, he is down to P5. Here we go, Russell trying to come back at Hamilton, and I'm sure Toto Wolff is not appreciating this fight between the two Mercs, as anything can go wrong and they can end both their races for this sprint, and then they're going to start with me at the back tomorrow. But here we go, Russell, Hamilton, who's got the superior braking capability? And at this stage, it is Russell. He gets the inside line, beautiful late braking move up the inside. And guys, basically, that was the sprint. We now come to the end of lap 11 to start the final lap of the sprint. Russell still P2, Hamilton P3, Alonso P4, Leclerc P5, followed very close behind by both the Red Bulls. We were just securing P8, guys. 1 point is 1 point. I made peace with it. But this battle, I can't believe that I didn't witness this in live gameplay. Alonso goes around the outside of both the Mercedes. What has Alonso eaten for breakfast here in Austria? He had a proper Spanish breakfast in the Austrian countryside, because he is feeling his inner Spaniard racing Guy McGee, I don't know even what to call it. He is on a roll. Alonso takes P2 from the two Mercs, and it even enables Leclerc to get ahead of both the Mercs. Russell is now still ahead of Hamilton, but they're down from P2 and P3 to P4 and P5. And it might even be P6 for Hamilton as Verstappen drives around the outside, and he gets the move done on Hamilton. Hamilton, I think, is going to be raging more than I mentioned Leclerc raging just about a minute ago. But Alonso is still under pressure from Leclerc. But because there's no DRS at this part of the track, I think Alonso will be safe. The Aston straight line speed will carry him, but Carlos Sainz, reasonably dominant sprint race performance. He takes the win for the sprint. Will Alonso come over the line in P2? There they come through the final corner. Alonso is ahead. He's going to start P2 in the Grand Prix. Leclerc P3, Russell P4, Verstappen P5, Hamilton P6, Perez P7, and we just defend from Valtteri Bottas in P8.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
Oh my goodness. Guys, even though my performance, considering in what car I'm in, was kind of terrible, that battle for P2 to P7 was incredible. Oh my goodness. Carlos Sainz, he absolutely, now that I properly think about it, he blitzed the rest of them. He made the most about getting into the lead and bridging the gap to Leclerc, while Leclerc was under pressure from the Mercs and from Alonso. That was exceptional from Carlos Sainz. We get the point, we're going to fall back to P20, but I mean, if this was the sprint race, I am beyond excited for the main race. So what are we waiting for? Let's go!
And a welcome held every 63rd when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stable for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. It's Carlos Sainz in pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Considering the Leclerc, Hamilton, Perez, Ocon, Verstappen, Noda, Bon, Piastri, Sargent, De Vries, Hulkenberg, Gasly, and O'Connor. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
And it just keeps getting crazier, guys. Verstappen gets a penalty. He's down to P9. He has to play catch-up. A bunch of penalties throughout the grid, but the top 6 are still Sainz all the way down to Perez. There's still 6 cars that can win this race. And you guys know, with using the mediums in the sprint, I don't have a fresh set, so I'm going to have to go from hards to softs for this race. But I think it's not going to be too bad of a strategy. This might work out a lot better for us than we think. But there's a lot of guys starting on the softs, a few guys that have extra mediums starting on the mediums. It's open gates. We anything can happen.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
One of the longest broadcasted races and also one of the shortest. 2021.
So as all the cars reform the grids, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Our strategy is in place, we are ready. But guys, the bigger question, can Fernando Alonso win his first race since 2012, if I'm not mistaken? We will see. Can Alonso jump Sainz into the first corner? We are at the back, so we're acting as if I'm recording a backmarker video. Let's look at the guys in the front. We hit 2, 5 red lights, and it's go, go, go for the Austrian main race. Here we go. Beautiful start from Sainz again in the Ferrari. Leclerc gets an even better one than his teammate, and he is into P2 ahead of Alonso. That's terrible for my teammate. The soft tires not working for Alonso, but clearly working for the Scuderia. Mercedes P4, P5. Hamilton already trying to pressurize Russell as the Red Bull of Perez is battling the Alfa Romeo of Valtteri Bottas. Bottas is having an exceptional weekend. Alonso defends from George Russell in the Mercedes, and now he needs to try and stick with those two Ferraris because, like you guys saw in the sprint, as soon as you lose DRS, you lose a lot of time per lap. So you need to stay within DRS of the car ahead of you. You guys can see there. We quickly look here at Bottas versus the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. It's a beautiful battle, but Bottas gets the defense done on the Alpine. We now jump back to the start of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, and you guys can see he gets a pretty decent launch off of the line, like a really, really good one as some of the other cars bog. He tries to go up the inside of the fin, and he gets the move done. His teammate Perez just went nowhere. Who had the bad start in the sprint race again? But I mean, Perez just went nowhere. Verstappen and Bottas side by side into turn 3. Up the inside goes Max, but Bottas is not willing to let this one go. That's the first time the Alfa Romeo really has shown proper pace around the track. But let's look at Perez now. What happened to the Mexican? It just, the car absolutely bogs down completely, almost going into anti-stall, and that lets Verstappen and the Alpine of Ocon just blast by, as well as Zhou, Norris, and even a Haas on his left-hand side. That was a horrible start for Sergio Perez. So, Verstappen is already back where he's supposed to be, basically. But you guys see, we also get a phenomenal start with the Haas. I didn't think we were going to have the grip that we did. Beautiful start up the inside of a few cars, going into the corner, and P15 from P20. It's 3 wide between myself, Piastri, and Alexander Albon. But they absolutely just embarrass me with the exit speed. But we know what the move's going to be. Dive bomb boy Mickey! As we go up the inside of Guanyu Zhou, can we get into the points already? Yes, we can. And guys, one thing that I have to say that has to be fixed in this game is braking into turn 3. The cars just slow up way too much and they leave way too much space on the inside. It's too easy to dive bomb, honest opinion. So I was going to freaking abuse it. I mean, I'm starting P20. I'm fighting for the championship officially. We need to be in the top 5 at least. So we're going to fight. But now we are even already ahead of Perez. He's down to P12 from P6. He lost 6 positions in this Grand Prix. That is not the start that the Mexican would have wanted. Verstappen is where Perez started. So, I mean, this is crazy. So it's my work and Perez's work to catch up to the rest of the pack. Perez gets up the inside of Guanyu Zhou, and he is now right behind me in P11. But we now go back to the battle for the front. It's 3 wide between Verstappen and the 2 Mercedes into turn 1 as the game just glitches out a bit there and they goes through each other. Hamilton goes into P3 with Russell P4, but he is under pressure from the fin. Valtteri Bottas. Will Bottas get that Alfa Romeo into P5 on lap 2 of this Austrian Grand Prix? It looks like Bottas is going to have the grip. Sainz, Leclerc, Alonso already gone. Here we go. Hamilton, Bottas splits the 2 Mercs. The former Mercedes driver splits the 2 Mercedes. He's trying still to defend this position from Russell that he just took. Verstappen is looming right behind them, but Bottas is just on a mission today. That Alfa Romeo looks scintillatingly fast, and around the outside he hangs it off the Mercedes and is into P5. And guys, I'm not going to complain about this. I know I've got the pace. to the upper hand pace on the Alfa Romeo. So this is good for me because he's going to hold up the faster cars that I need to catch. You guys can see on lap 2, I get a beautiful exit coming out of the hairpin as I broke late and just straightened up the car. Had a bit of oversteer because I haven't used the hards the whole weekend, so this was an adjustment. But late on the brakes, up the inside of Ocon, we are now looking at the rear wing of Max Verstappen. So it's now on like Donkey Kong. I can see Russell, I can see Verstappen, I can see Bottas. If I can get past them, I'm into the top 5, and this would have been probably the best start I've had since like F1 2020 or F1 2019. I have had an absolutely beautiful first 2 laps of this Austrian Grand Prix. But here we go. Will Russell be able to go for Bottas? DRS will get activated, so going up the hill into turn 2, excuse me, that Mercedes is going to look good. But the Red Bull of Verstappen, with that straight line speed advantage that they have, with the minimal drag, that Red Bull is potent in a straight line. But here we go, up the hill. No DRS for Bottas because Hamilton is gone along with Alonso and the 2 Ferraris. Up the hill, Russell to the inside. Max keeps it around the outside to make sure that, you know, everything stays all nice and dandy. But oh, look at us! Look at us! We do the same thing we did to Norris with Verstappen. He has to brake early because the cars ahead of him are battling. It's 3 wide heading down into turn 3. We go for the dive. Bottas goes for the switchback. Russell is shoved wide. Verstappen is coming back at us. It's 4 at Russell. It's 4 cars battling here for P5. What insane racing! Russell, Verstappen still side by side, but I mean, that was sensational. Guys, let's have a replay of this. Oh my goodness, I'm not gonna have a voice after this race, and I need to video call my girlfriend, so she's gonna be listening to Squeaky Boy McGee. But I mean, guys, what an exit! And I mean, 3 wide into this next corner. What a thing. Russell goes outside, I go inside. Bottas is a sitting duck because he doesn't have DRS, but we outbrake ourselves. We overestimate the grip of the hards and concede the position back to Bottas, but we got Max and Russell, and now it's just the Alfa Romeo ahead of us that is in our way. Another thing we forgot, here's another replay of the 2 Ferraris. Leclerc is trying to make amends for the terrible sprint race that he had compared to his teammate as he takes the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix on lap 4 of this race. There's still freaking 32 laps to go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You guys see, I have to rewind again because there was the Ferrari move and now there's still action. Look at all these cars. We are all just one big Formula 1 snake slithering along the track because the battling is so insane and the DRS is powerful. This is incredible. Oh my word. We get Bottas into turn 1. Russell is coming past. Verstappen is coming past. I'm sorry that I ruined Bottas's pace there a bit, but I had to get past him as quickly as possible because I'm trying to bridge a gap between myself and Russell and Verstappen. I mean, I need to get away from them, and this is exactly what I needed. Verstappen and Russell going side by side. Beautiful move from Verstappen at the penultimate corner, but that's going to give me a bigger opportunity to break away and try and chase down the Mercedes of Lewis Hamilton as well as my teammates. We go now on to lap 5 as Esteban Ocon is battling with Lando Norris. And this is for points, guys. So, I mean, and Perez is also trying to come back into this race, but he's not having the luck that we are. He's in a DRS train for a little bit, but he gets Ocon up the inside of Norris. He uses the straight line speed of that Red Bull, but Norris gets another good exit on the outside line. That outside line really is the line to take at this track when you're battling because you can just get on the power so much sooner because the car is straightened up and it doesn't have as much wheel spin. Here we go. Sainz is trying to come back at his teammate Leclerc, and these two need to be careful. Alonso and Hamilton are still looming in the background. They might not be within DRS, but if the Ferraris battle too much, Alonso and Hamilton will catch up. The Aston is still potent in a straight line without DRS because of our extremely strong engine. But here we go. We look at Perez now as we start lap 7. Perez around the outside of the young Brit Lando Norris. Beautiful move. Perez up in a 2. What was that? I couldn't even see what position. We have to rewind again because the leaders were battling again. Ferrari are having a civil war. Spanish versus Monaco. Well, Spanish versus Monegasque. Here we go. Leclerc versus Sainz. And here we go into the next corner. Guys, you guys know Leclerc has not had the best of luck this season so far. Ferrari hasn't had the best luck this season so far. But I mean, Leclerc is trying to get back into the lead that he took and then lost to Sainz. So I might get confused with these two because there's so much happening. But I mean, it's now lap 8. And you guys can see Alonso has caught up because the Ferraris are battling too intensely. So, and Alonso is just as big of a shoe-in to win this race as any of the top four teams of drivers. This is anybody's game. Even Perez and Russell can still win this. Believe it or not, even Perez and Russell can still win this. Safety cars, red flags, everything is possible in an F1 career mode. Here we go. You guys see, I'm just quickly running through the entire grid so you guys can see who is placed where. Logie Sarge actually struggling to keep up with Tsunoda, but he's under pressure from Hulkenberg and De Vries, the retiring Nico Hulkenberg. He just came back and he's retiring again. What you doing, my guy? What you doing? But in any case, going to make silly season a bit interesting. We now head to lap 9 as we're looking at Guan Yu Zhou. He's going slowly. I didn't see any smoke, but that is terrible news for Alfa Romeo. They have such good pace around the Red Bull ring, but that is it for Guan Yu Zhou. Our first retirement of the main race. No safety car. Unfortunately, because I would have liked to have an easy catch-up to Alonso, Hamilton, and the two Ferraris. But it is what it is. And you guys can see now, this is how powerful DRS is. Lando Norris in the McLaren can fight Perez when Perez is not behind him because he's got DRS. That is how powerful the DRS is around this track. And Perez is going to suffer now because every time he battles with either Lando or Esteban, he loses time to Russell and the rest of us. Bottas is doing a sensational job. He fought back up into P7. He's again ahead of Russell. I mean, how is Bottas doing this? That's why I'm so sad for Zhou. The Alphas have such good pace around here. But now lap 13, Perez is the one with DRS. He's now in the quicker car with the quicker way to get past. So this might be the slam dunk move for Sergio Perez. And Lando locks up. That's a massive lockup for Lando heading into turn 2. And that, like I said, guys, that's it. He will not catch Perez. If Perez is ahead in sector 2, it's done. But here we go. Sainz stays out for another lap, but the pit stops are starting now. Leclerc is in, Alonso is in. They're trying to go for the undercuts on Sainz, but they are the only two drivers in. Sainz is leading the race. Ferrari should prioritize Sainz, not Leclerc. What is this favoritism, Monsieur Scuderia Ferrari? What are you doing, Monsieur's French? Oh my word, I just mixed Italian and French. I deeply apologize for any Italians watching my channel. But in any case, and French, to be honest. But here we go. Sainz is in the next lap. Hamilton, who started on the mediums, is staying out. He's trying to go for the overcut. But you guys have seen the overcut only works on this game if the driver you're trying to overcut comes out in traffic. So Hamilton is going for a big risk here. This is an easy track to overtake. Traffic really isn't a factor here as soon as the grid starts to slowly break apart. But this is for a race win, so Leclerc needs to do what he has to do. I mean Sainz. But Leclerc, he's on the hards. He comes around the first corner. Has he jumped his teammate? Yes, he has, by a long shot. Even Alonso has jumped Carlos Sainz. But Leclerc's pace on these hards, oh my goodness, he's fired those hards up instantaneously. He hasn't needed to run them in like most of us are struggling with, even some of the other AI. That Ferrari has just switched on the hards and he is going for broke. He wants this race win and he's now right behind George Russell, guys. So the two Ferraris, Alonso and Hamilton, have got some pretty darn impressive pace if that is what it's at right now, and Russell hasn't yet pitted. That is insane. Lap 16, Hamilton is still staying out on these mediums. Does Hamilton know something that we don't? There's no rain expected as we go a bit wide through the penultimate corner. But we are in P2, Bottas is in P3. This guy deserves better than a damn Alfa Romeo. Even in real life, guys, I still believe Bottas losing the Mercedes seat was bad. I know why, and we waited for it for so long. But I mean, really. And guys, that was a massive mistake from George Russell there. And now we've got 3 wide between Russell, Alonso, and Sainz. The two Spanish drivers going, basically teaming up on the Brit. But Alonso's in the sandwich. He gets through the sandwich. He is into P5. What a move from Alonso. I mean, but I think he was held up by Russell. So he's even losing even more time to Leclerc. And now Sainz has got DRS. It's an easy move for Carlos Sainz. But at least Alonso is still ahead of the Merc of Russell. But I have to watch this again because I was busy talking about other stuff and I didn't realize. So, Russell, how do you lock up into the final corner of this track? It's basically a lift. What are you doing, my guy? That was a silly mistake to make, Russell, like a really silly, like rookie level mistake. That enables Alonso and Sainz to make it an easy move on Russell. They're on the fresher rubber, so they're going to drop him in sector 2. And Sainz just says, well, thank you for unsettling yourself through turn 1. I'm going to take back the position that you took. I'm now back behind my teammate. But we now come to lap 17, and finally Hamilton is pitting. But guys, remember, I'm on the hards. I didn't start on the mediums. I'm going even deeper than Hamilton. So on that soft stint, it's going to be quali laps every single lap. But oh my word, Bottas defending like you wouldn't believe from Leclerc there. He also decides with the defending to come into the pit lane to cost Leclerc some time. I am sure that Charles is not going to be happy about that, because Alfa Romeo are the junior Ferrari team with Haas. So I think Leclerc is going to be moaning on the radio a bit about that one. But still, awesome racing here, as the pit stops are now slowly but surely starting to phase out. It's basically just us that's left to go for our pit stop. It's it's Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Hamilton, Russell, Verstappen. Perez is down in P14. What is Sergio Perez doing? This was a possible race win for the Mexican. Like, he's messing up bad. Okay, he's now up to P9 with all the soft and medium tire pit stops phasing out. I'm the only car that has not pitted, because obviously you guys know I need to go deep. But Alonso is trying to pressurize Sainz here. He's being unsuccessful. And Hamilton, who is our previous race winner, is still sniffing a win here. Like I said, guys, any one of the top 8 cars can win. And it is still, I can even still win this race if we do a last to first challenge without even like having a theme of last to first challenge. That would be insane. But I mean, here we go. Now on to lap 22. This race still feels like it's damn long. But I mean, the action is good. You guys know my motto. The longer the video, the better the action, the better the racing, and also the better the video. But in any case, lap 22, there's 14 laps to go. We finally bite the bullet as Leclerc has caught us up by all the way up to 5.8 seconds. We are now into the pit lane, but we keep our little block in the top right, because we have to look at the battling on track, guys. This is utterly insane. So Leclerc takes back the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. He has dropped the rest by 2.5 seconds now, and Hamilton, getting ahead of Sainz, is adamant to get past his former rival and teammate back from 2007, Fernando Alonso v Lewis Hamilton. We all didn't think we needed this, but we do, especially in real life as well. But Hamilton gets up into P2. He's going to try and chase down Leclerc now, as Sainz also gets an overtake done on Alonso. We now have Verstappen joining this fight for P2. And once again, it's a battle for P2. One side of the Ferrari garage is working, the other side is not so much. So in the sprint it was Carlos' side, in the main race it's Charles' side. So I don't know what's going on. But in any case, with Verstappen battling with Alonso, Alonso has lost DRS to Hamilton now, to Sainz now. And Verstappen is still battling. Fernando, let him go. Let him go, stick in his DRS, let him do the hard work in that Red Bull to catch up to Hamilton and Sainz, because that is exactly what you need. There we go, let him go, stick behind him, let him go. We have got this. But guys, now you guys can see there's a second Aston Martin, a second British Racing Green machine coming from behind, and that is myself. We've bridged the gap within just 5 laps to these guys. That is how damn quick these fresh soft tires are. We go around the outside of Alonso. He doesn't make it too hard. It's an easy move for P5. We are into the top 5 from P20. If the race ended here, I would have been happy. But we still got 8 laps to go. And here we go. Come on, Maxi boy, don't make this too hard. You know I am now the quicker car with my tire advantage. Here we go. We take the wide line exit to get that instant grip as we go into third gear coming off the corner. DRS enabled. Overtake was used to the outside of the Red Bull. We take the esports line. We hang it around the outside because we do have the grip. Put the power down, and that is us now up into P4, and there's only 2 Ferraris and a Mercedes in our way for the win, but we're very quickly running out of time. And Hamilton, I don't know how, has managed to catch up to Leclerc. Are those few lap pressure hards working out for Lewis Hamilton here as he's trying to go for a second win in a row? Around the outside goes the Brit to take the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. Around the outside, beautiful racing from Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc there. Charles now is the one with DRS. Will he come back at Lewis Hamilton, because the Ferrari is no slouch in a straight line? Hamilton defends outside, Leclerc inside. They're very close together. Beautiful front wing cameo on Leclerc. He gets back into the lead, but it's only by half a tenth. Will he have it heading into this next corner? No, Hamilton is still there. There you got to see the Mercedes. And Hamilton is officially into the lead of this race. But now he's not just got one. He's got two bright red and black Ferraris to worry about. Here we go. Leclerc is adamant to win this race, but as is Hamilton. Hamilton gets blocked by a blue flag car. The Williams of Logan Sargent just held up Hamilton there. So that gives you guys an idea how much quicker the top 4 teams are than the rest of the grid. We are lapping people in a 50% race. That is insane. Although that is without a safety car. But Logan Sargent could have cost Lewis Hamilton, could have just cost Lewis Hamilton the win. That was, but I mean, I think Charles forced that move because he knew that Hamilton would have to brake earlier to watch out for Logan Sargent. You guys can see Logan even gets in the way of Verstappen, which takes some of the pressure off of my shoulders and pushes him back into Alonso's pressure. But here we go. Hamilton now getting overtaken by the second Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. Hamilton, this is good. It went good, it went awesome, and now it's going bad again. Hamilton is not going to settle for P3 in this Austrian Grand Prix. We all know that. Heading up the hill, here we go. Leclerc is now 1.2 seconds in the lead. Hamilton and Sainz are battling, and it is now myself versus these two. They hold each other up massively in the hip, and we've got the grip advantage, we've got the ERS and the engine advantage around the outside of Sainz, and now we do Hamilton. We are up into P2 of this Austrian Grand Prix. How on earth have we done this?
Great maneuver. You made it look
P2 in this damn race. And can we chase down Leclerc? 1.7 seconds is the gap as Hamilton and Sainz are still battling, but now I'm the one stuck without DRS and they do. I have a little bit of a mid-track, not blockage, but obstacle there because there was enough space on both sides to overtake, but the Sainz and Hamilton decided to not go for that. So as we now start the penultimate lap of the race, the gap to Leclerc is still 1.8 seconds. And guys, Leclerc, he sourced a 9th gear in this Ferrari because I couldn't do anything about bridging the gap to him. I think I took out so much on my hards trying to catch up to Alonso and Verstappen initially when I came out of the pits. I took out a bit too much of my softs. But I mean, I can still get P2 in this race. P20 to P2. 18 positions gained. That would be absolutely insane, and that deserves driver of the day. Like, that is an ultimate exclamation. I'm in this championship. I'm here to fight. I'm here to stay. Bring it on, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. But we now look at Leclerc, guys, as with me battling with Sainz, the gap is now up to 2 seconds from myself to Leclerc. And he's now going to go into the penultimate corner for the penultimate time through the final corner now, as now he starts his final lap of the Austrian Grand Prix in Red Bull's backyard. It's not been Red Bull's day. Perez is still stuck in P9. Verstappen is trying desperately to get onto the podium, but it doesn't seem to be working out for the Dutchman at one of basically his home race, because there's so many Dutch fans at this race every year. I mean, oh my goodness. But here we go. Sainz up to the inside of myself. We squeeze him very much to the inside so that we have that outside line. We still have a tiny grip advantage, but it's not enough to break DRS. We get the defensive move. We make a proper defensive move on Sainz. And now all we need to do is defend it for the final 2 sectors. Here comes Charles Leclerc, guys. Once again, apologies for the jumpy recordings. It's the PlayStation's, nothing I can do about it, but still, for what it's worth, I am sorry. Through the final corner goes Charles Leclerc. He's going to win the Austrian Grand Prix. And from P20 to P2 in the main Grand Prix. Get in there, boy!
Yes, mate, I'll take that. Well done. We're really happy with the podium down here, so well done. Yes!
So another excellent win from Ferrari. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Congratulations to Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz for having a double Ferrari podium, but they are split by the British Racing Green machine, the Aston Martin. And guys, honestly, I'm a bit disappointed in Alonso's performance. He had the best possible opportunity to win this race, to stick with the Ferraris and be in that final battle. But it seems like Alonso just didn't have the race pace that the Ferraris and the Mercs had, and even the Red Bull of Verstappen. But I mean, the race results, let's look at it. Charles Leclerc takes the win from myself in P2, Carlos Sainz P3. We get the fastest lap again. Our streak is still not broken. Hamilton P4, Verstappen P5, Alonso P6, Bottas in the Alfa Romeo. Take a hand, my man. He finishes ahead of Russell and Perez in front-running cars. What a performance. Ocon P10, Gasly P11, Albon P12. That was so close to points, Alex. Tsunoda P13, Norris P14. Come on, let's get the cursor down. Piastri P15, Hulkenberg P16, Magnussen P17, Sargent P18, De Vries P19, and then our one and only retiree, Guan Yu Zhou in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. Guys, once again, I am completely out of breath. I'm completely out of voice. I think by the time I do the cheers, there's not going to be anything left. As you guys heard, there was already a slight disappearance. But I mean, we take the third best total amount of points. 1 point in the sprint, 1 point for fastest lap, 19 points for the race. I mean, you can't get much better than that. But we do take a hit in the championship. Leclerc is only 12 points behind us now. Max has fallen down to P3, 17 points behind us. Then it's Sainz, Perez, and Hamilton. Actually, Sainz, Perez, Hamilton, and Alonso stupidly close together. And then in the constructors, we only lead now by 6 points. 6 points to Ferrari, 12 to Red Bull. Mercedes are a bit further behind with 44, but we all know that's Hamilton's race number. That's Hamilton's lucky number. So don't count out Mercedes until we get to race 10. I mean, I still think Mercedes showed damn good pace the last 2 races. So we just can't count Mercedes out. We can't. It would be stupid to do that, like with our whole qualifying, swapping the engine and gearbox mistake. But guys, I mean, again at the championship, Sainz, Perez, Hamilton, and Alonso are so close together. George Russell is the one that's lacking behind the furthest currently. I mean, he needs to pull up his socks very, very, very quickly. Otherwise, he's going to very quickly. It's going to become a 7-car championship battle, not an 8-car championship battle. But Alonso is definitely still in this. I know the gap from myself to Alonso might seem big, guys, but again, this is race 5. Race 5. There is still 11 races to go, and there's also sprints in between still. So we absolutely can't count out any of the top 8 drivers, including ourselves. We can't. Okay, well, the top 7 drivers, including ourselves. It's too close to call. And I mean, with teams like McLaren and Alpine also upgrading, and teams like Alfa Romeo having weekends like they do now, getting points is just going to get harder and harder, because the midfield is eventually going to catch up, and you're going to have performances like this with Bottas. And if Zhou didn't have an engine failure, I think he would have been pretty darn close to Bottas as well, because he had good race pace. He was quick. So you have to take everything into regard, because otherwise, one little slip up, like not preparing that little bit, is what's going to cost you at the end of the season. So there is so much that still needs to happen. But back to the race, guys. Look, sprint race, it didn't go our way at all, just like it didn't do for Charles. I mean, I just couldn't catch up to the top 7 with their DRS train. And I mean, in the main race, constantly pushing absolutely flat out, guys, even on my hards. There were some laps where I was literally pushing as if it was qualifying. I really went ham for what was it? Ham for leather? I don't know. I am not good with British sayings, but in any case, I am also not very good at English. But here we are. We've got a dream. Sorry, guys. I'm being very random and very weird. I'm not focusing on the video because I'm trying to be funny. But it's okay. You guys still love me. So the sprint race, me and Leclerc, we didn't have luck on our side. I mean, I had to come through the grid, then lost DRS. Leclerc was constantly under pressure, and the pressure was just coming from too many angles. So he just couldn't defend everything. And in the main race, it's as if me and Leclerc just switched into a 90 gear, and the rest is history. 1 and 2 for myself and Leclerc. I mean, what more can you possibly ask for? We had a sensational Grand Prix, and I mean, getting all the way up into P10 by the end of lap 1, even with our dive bomb boy Maggie moment, it was still, I mean, it was absolutely insane. And this was honestly such a fun race to drive. And I mean, if I didn't take so much out of my softs, I might have caught Leclerc, but also then I might not have caught Verstappen and Alonso as quick as I did. So it's a 50-50. Anything and everything could have happened. But guys, please let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this race weekend. Besides my total stupidity with qualifying and having to swap an engine and a gearbox, this was just the action, not even from myself, but from the AI, was on another level. The AI are so good in F1 23. Like, I honestly, Cody's EA, a round of applause, a round of applause. But guys, now is where I'm going to end it. Now is where I'm going to let you go to bed or go to work, whatever. Whenever you watch my video, I'm going to let you go now. But before you go, don't you dare click off that. Don't you dare click that back button. I see you. I know you can't see my face, but I see you. Remember to drop a like down below on the video. It's only going to take you a nifty 2 seconds. Guys, there's a vlog coming very, very soon on the channel again, so be excited. Check out the links in the description down below for the teasers of the vlog that will be on my social medias. Also, if you are not yet subscribed and you are new to the channel, what are you doing? Hit the subscribe down below, and don't forget to ding that bell to never miss a future video. It's going to be an awesome year. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next video. Cheers!